Students in science class. Students, as we already started microorganism friend and foe chapter, and we already studied about what are microorganisms, and then we studied about like how microorganisms are beneficial for us. In today's class we will study about harmful microorganism, then we will study about food preservation and nitrogen cycle. So let's start with first topic, that is harmful microorganisms. Students, microorganisms are very harmful in many ways. Some of the microorganisms cause diseases in human beings, plants and animals. So such disease causing microorganisms are called pathogens. So what are pathogens? The microorganism which cause disease, we called it pathogens. Even students, microorganisms spoil food, clothing and leather also. So let us study more about their harmful activities. Our next topic is disease causing microorganisms in humans. So as pathogens can enter in our body. How they can enter in our body? There are the different ways by which they can enter in human bodies, like the air we breathe, the water which we drink or the food which we eat. And they can also get transmitted from direct contact with an infected person, or even it is also carried through an animal. So microbial diseases can be spread from an infected person to a healthy person through different ways like air, water, food or physical contact, and we called it communicable diseases. So what is communicable diseases? Which is spread from an infected person to a healthy person. For example, the diseases like cholera, common cold, chickenpox and tuberculosis, these are the few examples of communicable diseases. Now with an example I will explain you about the communicable diseases. Friends, if a person is suffering from a common cold, so when that person sneezes, so what happened? The fine droplets of the moisture which carrying thousands of viruses are spread in the air. So when a healthy person come in the contact of that air, so what happened? That healthy person get infected with the common cold. So in this way, like rest of the diseases spread from a infected person to a healthy person. Now there are some insects and animal also which we called carriers of disease causing microbes. There are some insects and animals which act as carrier of disease causing microbes. For example, son, you have seen housefly. So housefly is one such carrier. They sit on garbage and animal excreta. So what happened after that? The pathogens which are on garbage and animal excreta, they stick to their bodies, and when these flies sit on uncovered food, they may transfer the pathogen in that food. So whoever eats the contaminated food is likely to get sick. So it is always advised that always keep food covered and avoid consuming uncovered food items. There is one more example of a carrier. It is female Anopheles mosquito, which carries the parasite of malaria, and female Aedes mosquito, which act as the carrier of dengue virus. Now students, here the question, how can we control the spread of malaria and or dengue? So all mosquitoes breed in water. So one should not let water collect anywhere, like in coolers, like in tires, flower pot, etc. And by keeping the surrounding clean and dry. By these ways we can prevent mosquitoes from breeding. So some of the common diseases which affecting humans, their mode of transmission and few general methods of prevention. So let's study some common human disease which is caused by microorganism. You can see here the tuberculosis, measles, chickenpox, polio, and the mode of transmission is air. Then cholera, typhoid, polio, hepatitis E, and the mode of transmission is water. And cholera, it is through food. Chickenpox, when a healthy person come in contact with an infected person. Then malaria, which is mode of method is mosquito. Now friends, look at the table. In this table some human diseases and causative microorganism, and we already studied about mode of transmission and what are the preventive measures is given in this table. So first tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is caused by bacteria, and the mode of transmission is air. And measles, it is caused by virus and mode of transmission is also air. Chickenpox, polio, these are also caused by viruses and mode of transmission is air and contact with the infected person. Now, how we can prevent these diseases which is caused by air? So, keep the patient in complete isolation and keep the person's belongings away from those of the others, and vaccinations to be given at suitable age. Cholera and typhoid, these are caused by bacteria and the mode of transmission is the water, like cholera is through food also, contaminated food, and typhoid is through water. What are the preventive measures? Like to maintain the personal hygiene and good sanitary habits, then consumed proper cooked food and boiled drinking water and vaccination. These are the preventive measures of cholera and typhoid. Then we talk about the hepatitis E, which is caused by virus and the mode of transmission is water. So what are the preventive measures? We have to drink boiled drinking water and give vaccination. Then malaria, it is caused by protozoa and mode of transmission is mosquito. And what are the preventive measures? Like we have to use mosquito net, repellents, then we have to spray insecticides and control breeding of mosquitoes by not allowing water to collect in the surrounding. So by using these measures we can prevent malaria. Our next topic is disease causing microorganism in animals. So hence microorganisms not only cause diseases in human beings and in plants, but they also cause diseases in animals. For example, anthrax is a dangerous disease which is caused in human as well as in cattle also. And these anthrax disease is caused by a bacterium. And then there is other diseases like foot and mouth diseases of cattle. It is caused by viruses. So as you know, Robert Koch, the name of a scientist, in 1876, he discovered the bacterium which cause anthrax disease, and the name of the disease and the name of the bacteria is Bacillus anthracis. Our next topic is disease causing microorganism in plants. There are several microorganisms which cause diseases in plants like in wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple and other plants are there. So the diseases reduces the yield of crops. So now you can see here there are the few plant diseases and the microorganism which cause these diseases and the mode of transmission. Now students, there in this table you can see plant diseases name is given, and these diseases caused by which type of microorganism and what are the mode of transmission. So first is citrus canker. It is caused by bacteria and the mode of transmission is air. For example, it is occurs in orange. Then rust of wheat, it is occurs in wheat basically, and it is caused by fungi and the mode of transmission is air and seeds. Then yellow vein mosaic of bhindi or okara, and it is caused in especially in ladyfinger, and it is caused by the virus and the mode of transmission is insect. So they can be controlled, these diseases can be controlled by the use of certain chemicals which kill the microbes. Our next topic is food poisoning. So if food is not preserved properly, so what will happen? The microorganisms grow in it and make the food poisonous. So when the microorganisms grow on that food, so what happened? They produce toxic substances, and that toxic substances make the food poisonous, and which is cause serious illness and even death sometime. So it is very important that we preserve food to prevent it from being spoiled. Next topic is why do we need to preserve food? We know that microorganisms spoil our food stuff. So to protect food from being spoiling, so the growth of microorganism in it, we must be prevented. So in the processing of food, to prevent their spoilage and retain their nutritive value for a long period, we called it food preservation. Friends, let's study some common methods of preserving food in our home. Let us study the common methods of preserving food in our home. So first is chemical method. So salts and edible oil are the common chemical which is used to check the growth of microorganism. Therefore, we called it preservatives. You have seen that we add salt and or acid preservative to pickles, and so that they prevent the attack of microbes. Then there is the other chemicals like sodium benzoate, sodium metabisulfite. These are the common preservative which stop the growth of microorganism, or they kill the growth of microorganism. So these are used in the jams and squashes to check their spoilage. The next is preservation by common salt. So you have seen that at your home your mother is adding salt in pickles, then she is adding common salt to preserve meat and fish for ages. So meat and fish are covered with dry salt to check the growth of bacteria, and salting is also used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, and many more other food material. Now next is preservation by sugar. We are seeing jams, jellies, squashes. These also are preserved by sugar. So what sugar do? Sugar reduces the moisture content which inhibit the growth of microorganism or bacteria which spoil the food. Then preservation by oil and vinegar. Use of oil and vinegar, it also prevents spoilage of pickles because the bacteria cannot live in such an environment. So vegetable, fruit, fish, meat, these are often preserved by using this method. Then our next is heat and cold treatment. Sometimes friends, you have seen your mother boiling milk before it is stored or used. So why she is doing that? Because boiling kills many microorganisms. Similarly, we keep our food in the refrigerator. So why? Because low temperature inhibit the growth of microbes. There is a one term, pasteurization. What is pasteurization? Pastured milk you have seen which is consumed without boiling because it is free from harmful microbe. So when the milk is heated about 70 degrees Celsius for 15 to 30 seconds and suddenly chilled and stored. So by doing this, it prevents the growth of microbes, and this process is called. Next is storage and packing. So in storage and packing, these days you have seen that the chips and dry fruits and vegetable, they all are sold in a sealed airtight packets. Why they are come in a sealed airtight packets? Because it prevents the attack of microbes and we can use it for a long period. Our next topic is nitrogen fixation. So in your previous classes like in 6th and 7th standard, you already studied about rhizobium bacteria. What is bacterium rhizobium? Bacterium rhizobium involved in the fixation of nitrogen for the leguminous plant, and the rhizobium bacteria lives in the root nodules of these plants, and like such as beans and peas, with which it has a symbiotic relationship. Sometimes nitrogen gets fixed through the action of lightning also. Our next topic is nitrogen cycle. So through nitrogen cycle, the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remain constant. As you already studied in previous classes that in atmosphere, 78% nitrogen gas is present in our atmosphere. And students, nitrogen is one of the essential or important constituent of all living organism, as a part of proteins, as a part of chlorophyll, nucleic acid and vitamins. So an atmospheric nitrogen cannot be taken directly by plants and animals. So how they get that nitrogen? So there are certain bacteria like blue-green algae, or you have heard about the bacterium rhizobium. They present in the soil and they fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into compounds of nitrogen. Once nitrogen is converted into these usable compound, then what happened? These plants absorb these nitrogen from the soil and through the root system and utilize it. When plants and animal die, so what happened? The bacteria and the fungi which is present in the soil, they convert the nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compound which is used by the plants again. There are certain other bacteria which convert some part of the nitrogen gas, convert them to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. So as a result of this, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains more or less constant. Now students, see this nitrogen cycle. This is the flow diagram of nitrogen cycle, the atmospheric nitrogen, right, which is converted into nitrogen compound through different methods like lightning. It fixes the nitrogen and convert into compounds of the nitrogen in the soil. Then there are the some nitrogen fixing bacteria like blue green algae or bacterium rhizobium. They also fix the nitrogen and convert into nitrogenous compound, right. Then these compounds of the nitrogen, it is utilized by the plant. After that, the animals which feeding on plants get these protein and other nitrogen compound, and when the plant and animal die, what happen? The bacteria and fungi which is present in the soil, they convert the nitrogenous waste into nitrogenous compound, and which is again utilized by the plant. Then there are the certain bacteria which convert some part of them to nitrogenous gas, and which again enter into the atmosphere. So this is the complete nitrogen cycle. I hope students you understood this topic and this chapter also. So thank you students.